process, and we came up with about $145,000 to $180,000 is what we're going to spend. This was going to encompass all kinds of projects down there. And when I started exploring this grant and realizing that we were going to have to upfront the cash, which meant a special town meeting, the grant had to be in place and applied for by November, and we had to have the meeting by then. I just didn't feel as though this was something that we would want to undertake. Plus, it would be spending more money than what we actually need just to make the qualifications for the grant. So I've talked with Mike about it a couple of times, and we kind of backed it up a little bit and decided to slow down. There's no race here. We need to do this thing right. You know, we have a few goals that we want to attain out of this. One of them is we want to make sure that the gazebo is exactly what the town would like to have. Mike has done some due diligence on this, and he actually found a company out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It's owned and operated by Amish, and they build these really pretty amazing kits. They're beautiful, and they've been engineered for snow load. You can get them engineered for wind shear. These are all things that we have to take into consideration, because we could have an 80 to 100 mile an hour wind coming off that lake and hitting that spot, and the last thing we want to do is have this thing go flopping through the air and go through somebody's house. So, I think that that's a real viable avenue as far as getting one of these built. They cut the kit out, they package it up, they send it to us, and we just basically assemble it. And we did look at things like bathhouses. We're looking at ways to more boats up out into that basin there for possible use. We're looking at the possibility of having weddings there. Outdoor classroom for RSU 18, shade for swimmers, and maybe even something with some music for the summer months. So, we haven't really talked to the committee as a whole to let them know my feelings and what I discovered as far as this land and water conservation fund, and that's coming tomorrow. And we're trying to redirect and try to find out where we can go with this. One thing that the town of Oakland has is we have a fund set up for the swim area, and currently we have $63,000 set up into that fund to be spent on our swim areas. So that has the potential to be utilized, some of it anyways, and possibly taking some of that money, set it towards this project, and do a fundraising event, and possibly do something with a piece of plywood with a thermometer on it, and set our goals and try to attain those goals. We have commercial companies here in town who's expressed interest in helping financially with this. I think that with a group of individuals who's sitting on this committee, we could certainly get creative enough to come up with some unique ideas. You can get brass plaques to sell railings. You can do something with pavers like Maine General did, sell those and get those out there. So, there's all kinds of ways of going about this. There's smaller grants. One thing, Clee Duncan came in and spoke with me about a real estate grant that she feels as though we're going to be a shoo-in for. It's not for a lot of money, $1,500, but it doesn't take a lot of those to get this thing rolling. Personally, I think that if we come up with $50,000 to $65,000, it would be enough to complete this project. Mike, would you like to add anything to this?
Yeah, well, the only thing I want to say is that the discussion has gone all over the place, and depending on what day you might have talked to somebody, you might have gotten, and who you talked to, you could have got a whole different story. Because we kind of worked our way into this discussion on the grant, and when we found out that in order to get consideration for the grant, we were actually going to have to increase the scope, we started down that path and said, okay, we could do this, and do this, as Gary said. And when we got to the end, we said, we really don't need all of that. Plus, we have to do, it's 50-50, it's like 50% in kind too. So, we have to provide a lot of in-kind work. So the scope and the details of the grant just got too big. So as Gary said, we're back down to, and this all happened between the last meeting and the meeting we're going to have tomorrow. So a lot of the committee members don't even know some of this stuff. We're going to talk to them about it tomorrow. I guess the only other thing I'd like to say is, what is, is to answer the question, at least in kind of our mind, what is the objective of the gazebo? The objective of the gazebo is not exclusively for any one of these things that he talked about. The objective of the gazebo is to increase this kind of long-term project that we have to make Oakland have a really nice community sense of place. And it's for the people in the town, not any one group of people, but for all of the people. And to provide them shelter, to provide a place where the kids can go down and have, because the school has been taking classes down there to have a central place where they can have a meeting. Yes, we could do weddings down there, and I think there's a way to do it in the context of even with everybody else down there. We've seen that happen in other spots. But I just want to make sure that the council anyway understands that the committee is looking at this from the town as a whole, not any one piece of the town.
And I did provide you with minutes from our last meeting, and which basically at the bottom of them, it shows priority status on things that we're looking at. And an overall overview of it that was put together by Mike. Any questions or comments on this process that we're going through? Any concerns? Because we're here to talk about it if there is.
I've got a question. I've had a couple of people contact me, probably I'm going to say about 6 weeks ago, and they've already made donations last year to this. Now, okay, that donation that they made, is that going to be able to be utilized for, you said, a stone or a plaque or a what, I mean, or did they just make a payment and it's going to be just...
No, we've got, I think, $1,200 in an account right now that's set aside for that, and I actually made a donation myself to it.
Right.
And we know who donated to that, and when we decide how we're gonna go about this is when we'll work that into it. And, because we're just, right now, we're still in the brainstorming phases of this. You know, we don't know if the plaque or the pavers are the way we're gonna go with this, you know. We haven't figured that out yet, but people will be recognized if they donated money.
Even though they've donated it previously. Yes, I think that's really important.
Yeah.
This fund was set up when I first took
Right,
my
sure.
position.
Yeah.
And because this is something that we've been spinning our wheels for 30 years on, and we've never gotten any traction on it. And this was part of the original plan for Boatland, that they wanted to have a gazebo down there. And Gene Roy was part of that whole original planning process. And we're gonna get it done now.
I think it's good that we recognize that people are donating,
Oh,
because
yeah.
they'll be more willing to donate later on. Mr. Rose?
Ned just reminded me one other thing that Gary and I forgot. We are gonna have a booth at Oak Fest where we did like kind of one similar kind of thing that we did with the police department and gather public input into it, so we can use that in the committee discussions as well. So they know what's going on and we'll take any input there into consideration.
You could sell 50/50 tickets
Yeah.
and
All of that.
and ice cream. Good.
Okay, the last thing I actually have two, I have an add-on too. The library report from May, I mean, they had another status quo month. Everything's going well up there, no problems that I'm aware of, and Sarah hasn't brought any problems to my attention. The last thing I have on my agenda is I was approached by Danielle from Higgins and Bolduc, and she's on a committee that's putting together an event for the 100th year anniversary on the Waterville Country Club. And she has come down and asked if the town of Oakland would like to make a financial contribution towards that 100th year celebration. Waterville has made one. You know, this year my contingency fund is used up, and I won't have that money available to me after after July 1st. So I would like to present this to you and get any thoughts, possible suggestions.
What was Waterman's donation?
$500. And
What will the money go towards?
it'll go towards helping celebrate this. They've been a major taxpayer for the town of Oakland for
Absolutely.
100 years. They're in the Oak Fest event, they got a float. They certainly have, they're a good steward for the town of Oakland. And she's got a banner that she's asking that we put up, and I don't really want to take the Oak Fest banner down, but I'm going to try to work with her and see if we can get it on the same poles for a few days. And so I'm asking for suggestions from the council, if you would like to participate in this, and if so, throw some numbers at me. I have no contingency available until July 1st. The contingency that I have available that's given to the town every year is $1,000, and that gets used up for very small projects that we don't have an account set up for. And $500 to take it out of that contingency would cut it in half before the year even starts, and I don't know if that's a good idea. We could certainly do a small transfer out of fund equity, and if we'd like to make that donation.
I think it'd be a good idea to make the donation. They, just by the golfers coming into town, brings revenue to small businesses throughout the town. So I think it'd be a good way to, however we can figure it out, to make a $500 donation.
Okay.
So,
I don't disagree, but I'd like to see if there's something in the celebration that would be specific, that we can say our money is going towards, like you said, the banner. I don't know what banners cost, they're not that expensive, but I think it would be appropriate if our money was used for something that was in keeping with what we think it should be used for, and I don't know what that is right now.
Okay.
I'm just thinking that, people can say, well, it's for the celebration, what does that actually mean? So if we
It's a
can,
week-long event.
I know, if we can pinpoint, okay, we're gonna give you 500, what will give you 500, that $1,000 is gonna go towards all of the banners or whatever, as opposed to, they're gonna have an event up there and they're gonna have food and.
They bought the banners. They own them.
Right, we could still, our money could reimburse them for what they bought them. I would like to have something concrete that we can say, our gift to them, enable them to do this, and I just think the celebration is sort of a nebulous, what happens to it.
I can find that out tomorrow. Any other comments or thoughts on that?
Are they gonna have a booth at Oak Fest? Did I hear that?
Yeah.
Are they
They're having a parade at Oak Fest. I'm
The
sorry.
parade.
I
What
mean,
about if we offered them free booth space at Oak Fest and there was some, like a raffle or something that would benefit the citizens of Oakland that they'd be willing to buy tickets in, whereupon it wouldn't be any cost to them, for example, a round of golf or something. Now, I realize they're looking for money, but this is a way, I'll bet you there are people here in Oakland that don't realize it's a sort of a semi-private country club. Anybody can go up there and eat, anybody can go up there and play golf. But I'll bet you a lot of people don't know. So if we increase the awareness of that opportunity to the people in town, one of the ways might be to open this up for people to, buy raffle tickets for a round of golf, something of that nature. I mean, I'm sure they're always looking for more members. They have a social membership up there that's a bargain for anybody. And they're obviously looking for our input. So if we help them out somehow in their marketing, maybe they'd be interested in exploring that.
I think we're full at Oak Fest for vendors.
they get rid of the same problem everyone else has, manpower.
Yeah.
I ran that booth.
We don't have any space up there left at all.
None.
We're done.
How many vendors are there this year?
I think we got 130.
Wow, terrific. Congratulations.
Just hope for good weather.
Yeah. And that's everything with the food and, last year I think we finished out with 69 or something along that line. Okay, so I will talk with her tomorrow and find out where this money is being allocated for. And
Do you need a motion?
I would like to have either a motion on an amount, if we do decide to go in that direction, because the bottom line is they are asking for contribution. And I can do a phone call and talk with you afterwards, or,
I'm in favor of $500.
I'll make a motion of $500, and we would like to have a specific of what it's gonna go to.
okay, and where do you want this money to come from? Do you want to transfer it out of fund equity?
Transfer it out of fund equity? Yes. Motion is made, is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Very good. Gentlemen, that completes my day.
We have one more. And
Oh,
the
yes,
appointments.
I'm sorry. The town council appointments. I'm gonna send this through. Dan, if you'd like to, I'm sorry for the card.
Those are our traditional appointments that we do. We normally do them the same night that we do the police officers, but we score those in separately. So if I could have you sign that, please.
When we're complete, if you'd like to take a walk through the police department, I think that we can do
We still
that.
gotta wait for Mike's wife, so that's probably a good idea. Yeah. We can take a walk and you can give us 50 cents more for nothing, because we're spending a lot of money on it. Yeah.
Are we adjourning?
No, ma'am, we're gonna wait for Chief Tracy's wife, but we're gonna take
Or recess?
a little recess, so we're gonna take a walk through the police department.
Do we all get to come?
Absolutely.
Well,
Anybody that wants to get your hard hat?
And you have 50 cents, Sherry?
get you 100.
If you don't have your hard hat, you can just walk like this.
I can walk it.
That works just as well.
I appreciate